Maria stood in the kitchen from 5 in the morning, sleeves rolled up, the smell of simmering tomatoes already spreading through the room. She checked the clock. 8 hours left. Enough time, if nothing went wrong. The kitchen of the Romano villa was wide and bright, but this morning only Maria was in it. Don Romano had left early, business at the docks. Sophia had taken Emma and Lucas to a dental checkup. Victor stood at the gate, as he did every day. Maria opened the fridge, checking again against the list she'd written by hand the night before. Beef, tomatoes, fresh basil, the parmesan she'd carried back from Italy herself 2 years ago, still sealed in its jar. Today was the anniversary of Don Romano's mother's death. No one spoke of it aloud. But every year, without fail, Maria went into the kitchen alone and cooked exactly one dish, Sicilian-style beef ragù pasta, the recipe she'd learned from Don Romano's own mother, back when she was a young housemaid just starting out, 30 years ago. She began chopping onions. The knife against the cutting board, steady, unhurried. Lucas was the first one home, 3 in the afternoon, still clutching his schoolbooks. He walked into the kitchen and breathed in deep. "Is it that dish today?" Maria didn't turn around, just nodded. Lucas pulled out a chair at the kitchen table and sat quietly for a moment. "Do you miss Grandma?" he asked, his voice smaller than usual. "I never met your grandmother, Lucas. But you cook this every year." Maria stopped. She looked at the boiling pot, steam fogging the kitchen window. "I learned this dish from her. I was 18, didn't even know how to hold a knife properly. Your grandmother stood behind me, took my hand, showed me every move." Lucas said nothing more, but he came closer, standing beside Maria, watching her slice tomatoes. Emma ran in at 5, still laughing about something with Sophia in the living room. She caught the smell and stopped short. "I hate the smell of garlic," she announced, but her feet kept walking toward the pot anyway. "Then don't eat it," Maria said, not looking up. Emma pouted, but climbed onto a stool by the counter, eyes fixed on Maria's hands. "Rolling basil leaves before slicing them fine." "Let me help." "You'll mess it up." "I won't." Maria sighed and handed her a wooden spoon and a bowl of grated cheese. "Sprinkle it evenly. Don't dump it all at once." Sophia came in at 6, standing in the doorway a moment before speaking. She watched the scene, Maria, Lucas, Emma all gathered around the stove, each with a small task. "He's not back yet," Sophia said, more to herself than to Maria. "The boss will make it in time for dinner." "Are you sure?" Maria paused, looking up at Sophia directly for the first time all afternoon. 30 years, Sophia. He's never missed this day. Sophia nodded, said nothing more, but stepped closer to the stove and picked up a tomato, cutting it in half. 6:30. The gate opened. Victor came in first, face as unreadable as ever. But when he glanced into the kitchen, the corner of his mouth lifted slightly, almost unnoticed. Don Romano walked in last. He stopped at the kitchen doorway. Said nothing. Just stood there, watching, Emma with cheese all over her hands, Lucas trying to twirl pasta onto a fork without dropping it, Sophia beside Maria, the two of them arguing quietly over how much salt to add. The smell in the kitchen was exactly the smell he remembered from his mother's kitchen, years ago, in a house much smaller than this one, with no guard standing at the gate. "I'm starving," he said, his voice rougher than usual. The family sat down at the table. Maria brought the pot out and set it in the center, without a word. This wasn't the moment for words. Don Romano served the pasta onto each plate himself, something he did exactly once a year. When he reached his own plate, he paused, watching the steam rise. "My mother used to tell me," he began, slowly, "a good meal isn't about expensive ingredients. It's about who stood there and made it." No one spoke. Emma looked at her father, then at Maria. "So today Maria's making it for Grandma?" she asked, innocent as ever. Maria smiled, the first real emotion she'd shown all afternoon. "Today I'm making it for everyone. But yes, part of it is for her too." Don Romano raised his glass of water. Never whine, not on this day. To the ones who taught us to cook, he said, and to the ones still here to keep cooking. Glasses touched across the table, even Emma's small plastic cup. Dinner ran longer than usual. No one rushed. Lucas talked about something that happened at school. Emma spilled sauce on her shirt and got a gentle scolding from Sophia. Victor stood near the door, occasionally called in to eat with them, a rare thing. As the meal wound down, Maria stood to clear the plates. Don Romano caught her hand for a moment. "Next year," he said, "teach Emma to cook, will you?" Maria looked at the girl, trying and failing to wipe a smear of sauce off her cheek with a napkin, laughing at her own mess. "She's too young. You were 18 once too, and didn't know how to hold a knife." Maria didn't answer, just nodded, and carried the stack of plates into the kitchen. But before she left the room, she turned to look at the family once more, warm yellow light falling across each face. She hadn't told anyone yet, but next year, this recipe wouldn't live only in her head anymore. She'd already written it down, tucked into a small notebook kept in the kitchen drawer, Emma's name on the very first page. Some things couldn't be allowed to be lost again.